Good day. Welcome to this important and significant signing of an executive order which will strengthen the City of Newark's sanctuary city status through fair and welcoming policies. As you know, this effort has been championed by our own mayor, Mayor Ras J. Baraka, as well as members of the Newark Municipal Council. Today, we are pleased to be joined by our partners in this initiative, the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice, 32BJ SEIU, Make the Road, SCLU, ACLU, and New Jersey Working Families, in addition to our many other supporting partners. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are also honored to be joined by very distinguished members, the Consul of Political Affairs for the General Council of Mexico here in New York, Paulina Strasburger Lona. We're also pleased to be joined by the Vice Consul of the Consulate General of the Dominican Republic in New York, Juan Dominguez Fermin. We're also pleased always to be joined by our own Deputy Mayor, Jacqueline Quiles, Public Safety Director, Anthony Ambrose, Councilmember Louis Quintana, our Corporation Counsel, Kenyatta Stewart, and Rachel Lewis, who's the manager of our Municipal ID program. Today's program will begin with remarks by Mayor Ras J. Baraka and Municipal Council Vice President Councilman Augusto Amador. After their remarks, we will take questions from the media, and that will be followed by the signing of the executive order as well as opportunities for photographs. Now, please welcome our esteemed mayor, the Honorable Ras J. Baraka.
Good morning. Took us a minute to put all of this stuff together, but so thank everyone for their patience, and I want to also thank the partners that worked with us to make this happen. Of course, the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice, 32BJ, Make the Road, ACLU, and New Jersey Working Families. Other partners included the AFSC, NJPP, Latino Action Network, New Labor, the Winter Spirit Iron Brown Community Corporation, and Faith in New Jersey. So these are just a few organizations that helped us reach this point in one way or another. And all of the, of course, all of the people that work here with us in the city every day to make sure that we uphold what we think is right here in Newark. Obviously, the Public Safety Director, Rachel, Ty, all of the folks that work in my office directly and specifically, the law department, to try to get this thing out. There's probably 16 major points that this outlines, and I would give you an opportunity to read those on your own. There's some specific things that I think, though, that makes it clear that I would like to, mention. This is an opportunity to make Newark a fair and welcoming city, to make communities safer for citizens that are documented and undocumented alike. The city of Newark will not expend official time, funds, or resources to facilitate the civil enforcement of federal immigration law, nor participate in civil immigration enforcement operations, except where legally required to do so or by federal law. What this means is that we will not enter into agreement or arrangement that would give federal immigration authority or power to city police or other enforcement agencies. We will not enter into any agreement or arrangement to detain immigrants in deportation proceedings. We will not honor immigration or customs enforcement and Border Patrol, warrants or hold any person on receiving a detainment request unless the request is a valid judicial warrant. We won't permit ICE, CBP, or USCIS officers, agents, and representatives to gain access to municipal facilities, equipment, or databases without a valid judicial warrant. Such requests must be immediately sent to the mayor, business administrator, or relevant director for their approval. Such access will be limited in scope to the parameters of the warrant. Any person who is arrested by the Newark Police, whether documented or undocumented, will be processed by the police division in a manner that protects that individual's constitutional rights under both the United States and New Jersey state constitutions. No municipal agent or employee shall inquire about or request information about or otherwise investigate the citizenship or immigration status of any person unless that inquiry or investigation is required by state or federal law or regulation or directive of a court order. In addition, no municipal agent will go out in the community to seek information on individuals' immigration status at all. The last part I would like to say is Newark government officials will treat all crime victims and their families with due respect and will not be deterred or made fearful of arrest, retaliation, or deportation for reporting crimes to their property or persons and serving as witnesses in the proceedings against suspected criminals. That's important for us as well. This came out of obviously an opportunity for us as a city to reinforce the idea that we believe that everybody that are residents here in our city should be protected by the laws of this community. They should be able to have access to city services. They should participate in city events. That anything that we have to offer as a city, that they should be willing and able, without fear, to come forward and participate in that. They should be able to visit their kids in school. They should be able to shop at the stores without fear of intimidation or retaliation. They should be able to walk along city streets and take public transportation and participate in city recreational activities. They should be able to purchase things from our stores and use our local banks. They should be able to get a local municipal ID and participate in our community like any other resident of this city without fear of intimidation or deportation. They should not unjustly be stopped and searched and seized and asked about their immigration status by any city official at all whatsoever. And we will not support that in any stretch of the imagination. We will not do that. In fact, this executive order makes it clear that is not tolerated by me or anybody in this office. I know there'll be questions about what's happening nationally and how do we feel about monies being threatened if we proceed going forward. I just want to say that one, we believe that we are right, and the fact that we are right gives us I believe the strength to continue to move this forward regardless of any threat from the federal government. Two, we are relying also on our state legislators and our federal delegation to buttress and support us in areas where we think that needs to be supported. In fact, I know that Senator Ruiz has a bill that she's pushing that calls for the state to reimburse cities on funds that are lost because of issues like this. We also believe that President or Mr. 45, his budget policies seek to cut the very things that he's threatening to take away anyway. So it's almost useless for us to take that as a threat when he threatens to cut all of the things anyway, from housing to welfare to food stamps to everything that we get anyway. He's threatening to CDBG money. It really is not a threat at all. We might as well go forward and do what we want to do in any way. So that being said, I know there are 1,000 things that you guys have that I've got in terms of press inquiries going forward. So I'll give you an opportunity to ask any questions as it relates to that. I do want to, however, give before I do that, I do want to, however, give the Vice President of Council, Augusto Amador, an opportunity to speak. I know he's been long involved in this, even before Mr. Trump came up with this policy. He's been fighting for these things for a very, very long time. So I'd like him to come on up. And thank Councilman Quintana for coming out and supporting us as well.
My apologies. I'm not feeling so well, but I couldn't miss this meeting. And I need to commend the mayor for being so forceful to make sure that Newark continues to be not only a sanctuary city, but a city where everyone, regardless of their status, is welcome. I don't know who and what guides those folks who are undocumented residents, but I can tell you one thing. From an economic standpoint alone, forget about the human issue. From an economic standpoint alone, if we ever, or if they are ever able to remove all the undocumented people from the city of Newark, I think the economy of this city will go down the drain in 10 minutes. That alone is enough of a reason for us to continue to fight. Then comes the human issue. And the reason why I did what I did 6 or 7 years ago when this was not as fancy as it is today, when we had an incident with a member of the Brazilian community where the Newark Police Department got involved, and we changed the course of the way we treat undocumented people in the city, then we can't turn the clock back. I don't care if it's Mr. Trump. I don't care if it's anybody else. We need to move forward, and we need to move forward with everyone who's a resident of this city, regardless of their status. Regardless of their status, when we see someone walking on the street, we don't ask him if he or she is an undocumented person. He's a human being, first and foremost. So, as a final note, let me again commend the mayor. The mayor has been in the forefront since he's been the mayor. I don't think anybody else in this country has been as responsive to the needs and the interests of the undocumented community as much as this mayor. So to him, my deep gratitude as an immigrant also. Thank you.
Well, most Americans are immigrants, right? Whether they admit it or not, some came voluntary, others came involuntary.
But we all family.
But we all here now, right? So open it up for any questions that people have. I'm accompanied by Acting Corporation Counsel and Public Safety Director, who can get into the weeds of some of the issues that you may have. No. Yes.
Mayor, in making Newark a sanctuary city, what happens with the cops? Are they standing with you? Are they okay with ignoring federal law?
Well, the Public Safety Director is here, and there is no federal law that requires us to ask immigrants their immigration status. There's no federal law that requires us to detain immigrants. There's no federal law that forces us to, when we make arrests, to ask people their immigration status. In fact, state law, the Attorney General guidelines prohibits us from doing that here in the state of New Jersey. So we're actually following the guidelines of the Attorney General, and we're following the Constitution of the United States, which protects all residents of this country. So the real question you should ask is to Donald Trump, is he okay with violating the Constitution of the United States?
And Mayor, just as a follow-up, the reference that you made to escaped slaves, can you explain that?
Sure. I'll be glad to. In fact, most people don't know what the fugitive slave law was, especially folks who are asking me all these questions about it. The fugitive slave law, which is in some instances was called the Bloodhound Law, which kind of empowered residents of states when slaves escaped to actually grab these folks and return them. Right? It empowered them to do that because the state viewed those folks as criminals, right? They viewed them as inhumane, and simply because they were black, simply because they were deemed inhuman or slaves when they ran away, it gave the power to anybody to grab them and bring them back, right? And I think that is analogous, rightfully so, to what the president is trying to get us to do, right? To go to empower all residents, to empower police forces, to get them to go out and turn against their neighbors and find out if in fact they were slaves or if they were immigrants, and bring them into justice for them, right? So I think it's the same kind of theory here, and it's very clear to me, so it should be clear to everybody else. And I wanted to make it hit home, especially to African Americans who've been through this before, so they understand the relationship that we have, the direct relationship that we have in protecting the constitutional rights of people in this country, because we went through that ourselves. No, it's from
man.
yeah. Buddy Branch. Wanna come on? Oh yeah.
How much money we can lose by being sanctuary?
Well, I don't want to speculate. I don't. There is right now the only thing that they've talked about is the COPS grant, right? That is the only thing that has been specifically targeted, which is shameful in my estimation, right? You want our police officers to act as federal agents, and if we don't act as federal agents, you won't give us additional money to hire more police officers. That number is not as large as people would anticipate, but I would allow the public safety director to talk about that.
Yeah, it's a few $1 million. What the mayor was saying is basically we perform the duties of police officers in the city of Newark here. We don't go out now or prior to Mr. Trump becoming the president, going out looking for enforcing immigration laws. So I don't know why we would be punished and our money would be held up or taken away. We don't ask, as the mayor said, we're bound by the Attorney General guidelines. We don't ask arrestees if they have papers to be here, if they're legal. We don't notify immigration. The only time that we have to is if they commit a indictable offense. So this is what the mayor is doing today, is memorializing what the police department, police division been doing all along. So we shouldn't be punished, the police department, because the real benefactors of that money are the residents of this city.
Guys, get down.
Thank everybody for coming out to this historic event here in the city of Newark. We say Newark Forward means everybody in the city of Newark, regardless of language, religion, national origin, sexual preference, documented or undocumented. Mayor, can you raise it? Raise it up. There you go. That would be a great one. Happy birthday. Everybody else,